Have you ever said this as a leader? I've already made the priorities clear, so why is nothing moving? Why? The plan is documented, the goals are defined, the direction is communicated, and yet execution feels slow. Focus feels scattered, and your team keeps working on everything except what matters most. So the question becomes, are your priorities really clear? Are they? Or do they just look clear to you as a leader? Stay with me, because the answer might change how you lead forever. Yes, the answer might change how you lead forever. I once worked with a leadership team that had what they called absolute clarity on priorities. They had slides, they had strategy documents, they had weekly alignment meetings, and still the execution was inconsistent. Deadlines slipped, teams conflicted, progress stalled. And here is what made it worse. Everyone believed they were working on the right priorities. So what was the problem? It was not clarity. It was alignment of understanding. It was not clarity, it was alignment of understanding. Let me show you what that means. What does that mean exactly? Here is the uncomfortable truth. What leaders call clear priorities are often just well-articulated intentions. And it's a big difference, because clarity at the top does not guarantee clarity at the point of execution. It doesn't. You see, priorities don't fail at communication. They fail at interpretation. That's where they fail. A priority is only clear when it produces consistent decisions across the team. If two people hear the same priority and act differently, that priority is not clear. It is not. It is ambiguous in action. It is not clear. It is ambiguous in practice. Think about a movie set. The director says, make this scene more intense. That sounds clear, right? But to the actor, that may mean more emotion. To the cinematographer, that might mean lighting. To the editor, that might mean pacing. Same instruction, different interpretations. Now, imagine that in your own organization. Imagine that in your own organization. Let me break this into 4 deeper reasons most leaders miss. Number 1, priorities are not operationalized, So leaders define what matters, but not how it translates into daily decisions. So the team asks, what do I start? What do I stop? What do I deprioritize? And when those answers are not clear, people default to what feels urgent, not what is important. Number two, priorities compete with each other. You say, move faster, maintain quality, be innovative, stay efficient. These are all valid. These are all important, but not always compatible. So the team is left to decide. And they decide which one wins. And when that is unclear, people choose based on one, their personal preference, two, their past experience, three, immediate pressure, not alignment. Number three, there is no shared decision logic. This is where my organizational cognitive model comes in to help organizations, because what most organizations lack is not clarity of goals, but clarity of thinking. If two team members approach the same situation differently, it means they are using different decision frameworks. That is what it means. And when thinking is not aligned, priorities get interpreted differently. Number four, the cost of being wrong is too high. The cost of being wrong is too high. This is something leaders rarely see. If people feel that acting on a priority could be criticized, they hesitate, they delay, they avoid ownership. So instead of acting on priorities, they wait for validation. And what looks like ignoring priorities is actually risk avoidance. Yes, what looks like ignoring priorities is actually risk avoidance. That leadership team I mentioned earlier, here is what we uncovered. They had one priority, and their priority focused on improve customer experience. That sounds clear, isn't it? But when we asked different teams what that meant, we got completely different answers. Support team focused on response time. The product team focused on features. Operations focused on efficiency. All valid, all misaligned. Once we aligned what customer experience meant in decision terms, something shifted. Teams stopped guessing and started executing. The team stopped guessing and started executing. Here is the shift most leaders never make. Stop communicating priorities. Start aligning how priorities are interpreted. Because execution does not follow words. It follows thinking patterns. Execution doesn't follow words, it follows thinking patterns. Instead of asking, did I communicate this clearly? Ask, will my team make the same decision when I'm not in the room? This is the real test of clarity. Will my team make the same decision when I'm not in the room? That is the real test of clarity. If you want your team to stop ignoring priorities, focus on these three items. Number one, translate priorities into trade-offs. Every priority should answer, what do we say no to? Because without trade-offs, everything remains important. And when everything is important, nothing is. Number two, define decision criteria. Instead of saying focus on growth, say when choosing between speed and perfection, we give priority to speed. Now, you are not giving instructions. You are shaping thinking. Number three, align on meaning, not just words. Do not assume understanding. Test it. Ask, what does this priority mean in your role? What does it mean in your role? Would you apply this in a real situation? This is where alignment happens. This is where alignment happens. Remember, it's the question we started with. Why do teams ignore clear priorities? Why? Now you know. They are not ignoring. They are not ignoring the priorities. They are interpreting them differently. And until thinking is aligned, execution will always feel inconsistent. Yes, till the thinking is aligned, execution will always feel inconsistent. Clarity is not what you say. Clarity is what your team consistently does. Clarity is not what you say. Clarity is what your team consistently does. If this made you reflect on your team, that's a good sign, because most execution challenges are not about effort. They are not. They're about alignment. If you want to go deeper into how decision-making, priorities, and accountability align to drive execution, I break this down further in my other videos. And if your team feels busy but not focused, start by looking at how priorities are understood, not just how they are communicated. Yes. Start by looking at how priorities are understood, not just how they are communicated.